You already know what it is. It's your boy Brandon Graham for the Truenorth.Bet NFL podcast. Let's get it. Let's get into it. NFL football. I'm your host, Brandon Graham. You can find me on Twitter at Graham_JB and on Instagram at G_JB. It is what it is. You can find it Truenorth.Bet at Truenorth.Bet on Instagram. You can find them Superflex Splash, Superflex Sports, sorry. First 10 podcasts, you can find that anywhere. And of course, this podcast is going to be great because today, what we're going to get into is NFL football. And for those people that love fantasy sleepers, who to bet on, so on and so forth. But this is a Truenorth.Bet NFL podcast. It's always a bet in the right direction. Sports betting, live casinos, esports, they have it all. Truenorth.Bet /EN on any browser you go to. Live casino, esports, sports betting, they have it all. It's super great. Get on the Truenorth.Bet. This is the NFL podcast, and let's get into it. I can't wait to get into this, and let's go. So today, what I'm going to do, all right, this is the NFL podcast. I've been on a number of different podcasts before. I've been a winner in fantasy football, and now is the time where everyone's kind of getting their fantasy teams together, getting their research in and know exactly who their sleepers will be, which team is supposed to do it, it's supposed to be great, so on and so forth. For me, in the AFC, I have the Buffalo Bills getting through. Okay, I know it's probably not a popular opinion, but I'm a Bengals guy. Got the Super Bowl last year. It's going to be incredibly tough for them to come back to it this year because the teams are hungry, right? But I could see the Bengals and the Bills squaring up in the AFC tilt in the championship game. I can't see the Chiefs getting back to that point. And of course, week one, we have Buffalo Bills going up against LA Rams in LA. That's going to be incredible. I know, Bills Mafia is going to be down there. And if you've ever been to a Bills game, you know exactly what I mean because they're the craziest fans in probably sports in North America. That's bar none, along with Raptors fans as well, too. But that's the first game of the year after all the preseason. If you're watching Hard Knocks as well, too, Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions have made them look a lot better just with having the HBO follow them around and having Hard Knocks. If you haven't watched Hard Knocks, please do watch Hard Knocks. It's one of the best shows out there, best documentaries. They do it in a week-by-week basis. You get to see them play a preseason game, and you get to see the story show out on Tuesday nights on HBO. It's incredible. That's one thing I'm really looking for. A lot of teams are going to be different this year. But you got Buffalo Bills versus LA Rams first week. You got Philadelphia Eagles, Sirianni against the Lions, the aforementioned Lions, Colts against the Texans, Browns against the Panthers. Remember, Deshaun Watson is not going to be playing. He's suspended. San Fran versus the Bears, Jacksonville versus the Commanders, New England versus Miami. Miami, watch out. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Chase Edmonds, Tua Tagovailoa. They have a team. They have an offense. They have a defense as well, too. Watch out for the Miami Dolphins. And I know a lot of guys on here, especially Justin D, you're going to be listening to this. They're going to be something this year. That's one thing I'll say. Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati, which is going to be a tough game to start out. But I see Mitch Trubisky probably taking the helm there in Pittsburgh after the Ben Roethlisberger, who just retired, kind of stepped away from the game, and it's been there every year. Mike Tomlin's been there. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in his career. I don't expect that to change unless he gets really bad quarterback play from Mitch Trubisky. Okay, I'm just going to go down just week one just to get you guys excited for what's going to happen fairly soon. Baltimore Ravens versus the Jets. Apparently, Lamar Jackson put on 20 pounds of muscle. You never really put on 20 pounds of pure muscle. You have some components of fat there, but he has gotten bigger, definitely stronger. Don't necessarily know if that's going to translate in less speed, but we will see. He's looking pretty good in preseason thus far in camp, they've been saying. So let's see exactly how that helps out his throwing mechanics as well, because that needs to improve. The Saints versus the Falcons, Chiefs versus the Cardinals, which are a really big game in Arizona. There are so many. Every year we say this. Every year we say, okay, teams are going to be better. You see them in camp. You see them in preseason. Like, oh, this team's going to improve. Oh, this team's going to improve. Until the week 8, week 7, you don't really have a really good understanding of how these teams are going to pan out because you need to be consistent. The martyrs of consistency have been the New England Patriots over the years, but they don't have Tom Brady there anymore. They have Bill Belichick. You have Mac Jones. Right? You have Rhamondre Stevenson, I'm going to get into, was one of the sleepers. You have Bourne as your receiver. You have a lot of guys in that team that can play, but they're not the same tutelage as the Julian Edelmans, the Tom Bradys, and everyone knows this because you will never see another team in the NFL be as consistent and as successful as the New England Patriots have been with Belichick and Tom Brady the fold at the helm because they just dominated. They dominated their division, dominated their conference, and they dominated in the finals in the Super Bowl game for years. You'll never see that happen again because they were too consistent for pretty much 20 years. 20 years being the most consistent team in sports. You see the Warriors getting up there in basketball. We will never really see that happen ever again. Now, mark my words there. But it's so hard just to tell if a team's going to be consistent or really good by a certain point. But I'm saying week 8 this year, we're going to know exactly which teams are for real and which teams are just faking it, because Arizona has always started out very well. Kyler Murray's always had a good start to the year, and then they always fall short because of injuries, because of just not good play calling from Cliff Kingsbury, so on and so forth. There's a number of reasons why that's the case, but we're going to get to that very soon. You got the Giants, DJ. You got Daboll out of the New York Giants, better coach out of coming from the Bills Mafia, the Buffalo Bills on offense that have been so successful with Josh Allen at the helm. Brian Daboll there. Now Daniel Jones. You have Robinson. Robinson out of Kentucky that's there, got drafted for them. You have Saquon Barkley back. You have you just have a lot of guys all together. Tavares Tony coming back as well too. They have a team, but it's all up to if Daniel Jones can put it together. Can he put it together? Can he not? It's really going to come down to that. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers just called out his receivers and said that the guys, if they're going to be dropping balls, they're not going to be playing. Pretty much a call to the front office to get some receivers in there. They lost Devontae Adams, who was the best receiver, bar none, with Cooper Kupp, but he's the best receiver in the league. Losing him, it's going to be very tough for Aaron Rodgers this year to muster up some success down the line or even get back to the NFC Championship game, to get back to the NFC quarterfinals or semifinal game in general. It's going to be very hard. They're going up against the Vikings that I think are going to be more of the same. New coach, but Kirk Cousins is still in the fold. Nothing's really going to change. It's their Minnesota. Las Vegas with Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, Darren Waller, Renfro, Max Crosby, Khalil Mack. You have guys in that team. You have guys. Not Khalil Mack's on the Bears, but you're going to see a team that is rejuvenated after losing to the Bengals last year in the playoffs. They're going to be really good in the AFC. Watch out for them. They're going up against the Chargers. That's another really good team in the AFC. The AFC is just incredibly, incredibly stacked. It's the best conference in sports. It's just what it is right now. Okay, it's going to be nuts. You got Tampa Bay going up against Dallas Cowboys. You have Julio Jones in the fold now with Tom Brady. Mike Evans did get injured. Hopefully comes back healthy. We're going to see exactly how Tom Brady at 44 years old does with this team. Denver Broncos, and then, of course, going up against the Seahawks in that Monday night game. So really exciting slate of football coming up in that first game, first week, and it's just going to get better and better as we go. And just to give you a certain bite of what's exactly going to happen. But I'm going to go through some consensus sleepers, some guys that now you're looking at to draft in your NFL team or your fantasy team. You need to have these guys in your minds, right? Because they're going to be guys that have showed out last year and are going to be on the market this year to actually have a big outstanding year. And I'm going to start out with a running back coming out of Oklahoma, play with the likes of Kyler Murray, play with the likes of young Kyler Murray, Spencer Rattler as well too, Rhamondre Stevenson. James White actually retired, running back for the New England Patriots that has been successful, was part of the glorious comeback against the Atlanta Falcons in that Super Bowl. That Super Bowl that were down 28-3. We'll never forget that. James White retired. If James White's retiring, that means that he pretty much got the talk from Bill Belichick saying, hey, we got this guy over here, Stevenson, who's just a dog, right? And he came in last year along with Harris and White and just tore it up. He's just a really good running back. He's my number one sleeper. Rhamondre Stevenson out in New England. He's ranked probably your 30th, 36th running back so far, but he's going to be a guy I think that's going to be a sleeper that you guys definitely have to look at. Juju Smith-Schuster, leaving Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger, now teaming up with the likes of Patrick Mahomes, the likes of Travis Kelce, Andy Reid in that system. He's going to have a breakout year. He can't suck. Again, he's not going to have a bad season. He's a guy as a receiver you have to look out for. He's probably going to be, in that 30 range as well too, but he's going to be a guy in your, let's say, 6th round, 7th round. It might be a little bit early, but it's still a guy that I think can have a really good year. As far as quarterbacks, the young quarterbacks, you got Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Jameis Winston, LASIK Jameis Winston. He's got his eyes done. Imagine this guy was in the NFL and didn't have his eyes done. He was squinting all over the place, couldn't see, threw 30 touchdowns, 30 INTs with a pretty bad eyes, right? Another guy, I'm taking my glasses off. Another guy I think is going to have a really good, I'll say, season coming off an ACL tear. He has to come back and, of course, produce. And I think he will. He has the mentality. He's smart. He's a good arm. He's talented. Jameis Winston's a guy. I know he has the best quotes in sports, pretty wacky stuff, but he is a guy that I think can be a standout quarterback this year, as he has Olave being drafted out of Ohio State with him. Marcus Colston, you have a lot of guys on that team that can really, really show up with the Saints, and they struggle without him. They're gonna be good with him. Okay, Gerald Everett out of with the Chargers, leaving from San Diego, not San Diego, Seattle, going to the Chargers right now as that tight end. Hey, listen, with that entire offense, with the team going forward in Los Angeles, they're going to then signing Derwin James recently. They're going to be good. They're going to be really good. And I expect Justin Herbert to be in the running for even likely an MVP. I think he's going to have a breakout season. He's going to go very early. He had an incredible season last year. Got into the NFL, got his chance to start because the team doctors and the Chargers almost killed Tyrod Taylor, and he just showed up and almost beating the Los Angeles Raiders in the playoffs, or in that last game, to decide exactly in the playoffs pretty much, and then going to the point, leading up to the playoffs, pretty much one of the best games we've ever seen because it was in the regular season and they need to decide exactly where they're going to go in the playoffs, so on and so forth. That's going to be someone to look at. I think they're going to have a breakout season. I think they're going to be in the playoffs, bar none. They're going to be very good if their coach can manage their timeouts and not go on 4th down all the time. They want a 4th down more than any team has in the history of the NFL. They're going to see how hard it is this year if they can't put that together. Okay, so that's what it comes down to. Dameon Pierce out of Houston, another very tricky, sleepy guy you're going to sleep on. He's another guy you got to look out for. Chase Edmonds, who did a really good job with Arizona last year, he's going to be the running back in Miami this year. He's going to be a guy that's going to get a lot of touches. Going to be out of the backfield. He's going to be put in the slot. He's going to run a lot of dig routes, a lot of routes around the quarterback. He's going to have a breakout year. He's very fast, very elusive, very squiggly in a sense. He's another guy you got to look for sure because it's going to be great. Tony Pollard's another guy out of Dallas you got to look for. He had a really good season. I know he's behind Ezekiel Elliott, but he's another guy you got to look for. Kenneth Gainwell is a guy you got to look for. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and of course Khalil Herbert out of Chicago. Now that as backup running backs, but still guys you can definitely see having breakout years. Receivers, I have Kadarius Toney. I already said Juju Smith-Schuster. Alan Lazard in Green Bay has a really good relationship with Aaron Rodgers. But we're going to see how it goes, especially in San Fran. Brandon Ayuk has a really good relationship, a good chemistry with Trey Lance starting out in San Fran. So you're going to have to see how that goes. KJ Osborne in Minnesota. Chris Olave. I'm an Ohio State guy. Chris Olave is going to have a really good season with Jameis once he comes back, so on and so forth. Amon-Ra St. Brown out of USC. Another modern day guy. I spoke about it on my last podcast. Very, very talented guy. If you watch Hard Knocks, he's more motivated than ever. He's jacked. He's fast. He gets open. He's just incredible. I think he's going to have a really breakout season with Jared Goff because he's always looking for him. He's always running really good dig routes, good post, really, a lot of good deep routes. He does a really good job of being precise with his routes. I'm a really big fan of him, and I think he's going to have a great year. Marcus Valdes-Scantling. He's with KC right now with Juju Smith-Schuster. They have guys in that team. They have breakout runners. You have McCole Hardman. You have Marcus Valdes-Scantling. You have Juju Smith-Schuster. You have Travis Kelce. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That offense is going to be electric. Andy Reid is one of the most creative minds in football history. So he's going to get the ball quite a bit and break down. And Patrick Mahomes can make every throw on the field. So you can see him there. Got Robert Woods in Tennessee. He's going to be another guy coming off an ACL tear. He's another guy you got to look for. Stephon Diggs is not a sleeper. I just think he's going to be great. I think any receiver, John Brown, Davis with the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, they're going to come out this year and they're not going to lose close games. I think they had a chance that last year they lost really close games. I think this is the year where they put it all together. It's gonna be a really really good year for them going forth. Christian Kirk, another guy in Jacksonville, got to look for. Um, George Pickens in Pittsburgh. There's so many guys, but I think the guys I've mentioned this start for the receivers are going to be very good. As for quarterbacks, I've already went through the top three with Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Justin James Winston. Did my research here. Jared Goff, I think he's gonna have a really bounce back year. Derek Carr, Davis Mills out of Houston can be a guy you can definitely stash as a backup quarterback. He's definitely a sleeper. And for tight ends, I'm gonna go Gerald Everett, as I said before. Cole Kmet in Chicago. Justin Fields been reported to have a really, really good year and a really good start to the camp. I think he's going to be very good. Got Evan Ingram out of Jacksonville, Austin Hooper in Tennessee, or alongside Robert Woods is going to have a really good year. Irv Smith in Minnesota. I think Minnesota is not going to really do great and make the playoffs, but I think they have, Kirk Cousins spreads the ball around, gets his guys numbers. They're going to be pretty good this year. Bob Tunyon with Aaron Rodgers is going to have to be a really good player. But those are my guys when it comes to sleepers and who you need to look for. Okay. Um, some of the guys I mentioned are going to be marquee guys, but when it comes to receivers, Ayuk, Olave, Amon-Ra St. Brown, sell high. So buy low, sell high. Kadarius Stoney's going to have a breakout year. Got Robinson in New York as well too, and as a rookie, I think he's gonna have a really good connection with Daniel Jones this year. I just think you really, really have to keep this in the mind. Like, all these guys are gonna have really good years. Even Matt Ryan with Indianapolis, with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, he's always had good running backs around him when he's been successful with Devontae Freeman in the past. Some other guys in the past has really been really, really good. Matt Ryan can have a really good year this year because he has the best O-line he's ever had. As a really competent coach, a great defense. Matt Ryan, that team, with the likes of, the Woods and especially his receivers there, I think he's going to have a really, really good year with that entire team thus far. They have some tight ends as well too that are going to be really good, and I'm just kind of choking my words right there. Start with that, but Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell, Alec Pierce. Those guys in Indianapolis are going to be a problem. I really think they're going to be good as long as they don't cough up, really tight games. I know AJ Brown's gone. I know Julio's gone. Tennessee's going to be a little bit worse this year, but they still have Derrick Henry, so they're going to be good as well too. There's so many teams, so many players that are going to have really good years, but I think those guys I mentioned are going to be at the top of the list. Okay, Laviska Shenault from Jacksonville, Devontae Parker, McCole Hardman, Tyler Lockett. I know he doesn't have Russell with him, but Tyler Lockett could be a guy that can get a lot of touches, a lot of screens, a lot of bubble passes. He can have a lot of yards because he's a breakout player. Russell Gage is going to have a year. Russell Gage, with the likes of Tom Brady, he's going to be a guy that I think is going to definitely step up in Tampa Bay. They're still in the mend. They're him and Mike Evans because they got a little bit banged up, but he had a really good year with Atlanta. He's a really breakout receiver. He has had some really tough catches. I think Russell Gage can be a player you got to look at for sure. Now that Rob Gronkowski's not there, they do have OJ Howard still. They do have their tight end still, but I think those guys are really going to have a breakout year. And of course, some of the notables, you have Chase Claypool, Treylon Burks as a rookie with Tennessee is going to be really, really good. Wanda Robinson, I've already mentioned, and I get his first name. Rashad Bateman in Baltimore. Those are all guys you have to look for because I did my research here. Those are guys I think they're going to be a problem going forward as we go out and see a little bit more of what they have to do, what they have to offer to teams. But it's a passing league, but you need to have running backs. You need to have guys that run the ball because they get the ball more. And really, really and truly, it's a quarterback-driven league, right? So all these guys I mentioned are going to have good numbers if they can stay healthy. Now that's a thing. Injuries are part of sports, part of football, especially. I tore my Achilles playing football. Never had an injury before, but it's part of the game, right? You have to get back. And some of these guys have coming off of major injuries like an ACL tear with Robert Woods, with OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. Those are the guys, okay? I'm going to go over once again my number one sleepers. I got Rhamondre Stevenson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Jameis Winston, Juju Smith-Schuster, Cole Kmet out of Chicago. I know it's not that's probably a sexiest pick, but it's still a guy you got to look for. Dameon Pierce and Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds I've had in my fantasy teams before. He's always showed out. He's always been really good. Him and Kyler Murray had a really good chemistry. He got a lot of touches. He scored quite a bit in crucial points. He's a guy you definitely got to keep your eye on, and he's going to have a breakout year. But those are my sleepers. You got to tell me who your sleepers are. Okay, I'm Brandon Graham. Find me at Graham_JB on Twitter, G_JB on Instagram. This is the Truenorth.Bet football podcast, right? NFL, NCAA, CFL. We get into it all. I cannot wait for football. Cannot wait for NFL. It's going to be great. I hope those have changed a little bit of what your mindset will be going into your drafts. But hey, I'm a winner. I've always been a winner in fantasy football. This is your year right now to dominate with your drafts, dominate with any trades you make. I usually really go hard with the drafts and then try to make some moves in the, with the waiver wire during the year. But everyone has their own strategies. But it always compliments you if you draft really well to start. Draft well. You don't have to worry about anything in the future. You can just ride with your guys. You have some injuries, you can move some guys around and just roll from there. Best of luck. This is the Truenorth.Bet podcast. I've been in the right direction always. Sports betting, live casino, esports. I'm Brandon Graham, and I just want to let you guys all know while you're watching these games, while you're thinking about it, keep balling. Take care, guys. Peace.